Game week 23 was absolute chaos before the deadline. We had late city leaks, which forced me into some reactive decisions. Many may not have seen it as that leak came about 3 minutes before deadline and actually caused me a bit of strife, as we'll touch on in a sec. I think those leaks may have pushed some managers into wildcarding this week, having had to make some transfers and potentially with some other injuries to some other players. We may see a lot of people wildcard in 24. Not as many as we probably think, as a lot of people are probably going to dead end into game week 30 and wildcard in 31. I was planning for a move to move on Foden to Enzo anyway in game week 24, so it forced me to move a little bit earlier. I saw it come out as I checked YouTube about 2 minutes before the deadline, and I saw people panicking about the leak. So I moved on Foden to Enzo, which ended up being a good decision, probably a bit of luck, especially with Enzo scoring a penalty with Palmer not being on the field, and an 8-pointer was very much welcomed. So I moved Enzo to Foden. The issue that I had was I kept Haaland in and actually kept the armband on him because I ended up running out of time with a bit of analysis paralysis. I probably would have moved. Funnily enough, I actually had Wilson as my vice captain. I don't know why, but I did. So that would have been a 20-pointer. And I actually had Virgil as my first sub, who ended up scoring. Virgil owners, you know my pain at the moment with him not being able to keep a clean sheet, and the one game that I bench him, he scores. But the rank of 8,309 still looking pretty healthy, but have been keeping my head above water the last couple of weeks, and I'm surprised that I probably haven't dropped down more into sort of that 25k range, as I know a lot of other managers have been struggling as well. So Enzo and Wilson returns really helped me. Wilson just keeps on being a tremendous asset for me, outperforming his XG per 90 and his XA per 90. But he's just a great player to own in regards to he's just so good to watch. Scored an absolute worldie there as well late on. Overall, the game week could have been worse, but if we go through it, Verbruggen, in hindsight, probably a little bit dumb on my end, not benching him, considering that I had Wilson, so I had an asset playing against him. Would have taken the Dubravka 5. He just, every time he steps on the field, he's getting 6+. He's pretty much starts at 6+ saves. Then we had Gabriel, Guehi, and Tarkovsky. Tarkovsky lost his clean sheet on Monday night early on. But his defensive contributions are pretty immense. Guehi, I actually watched that game and had an incredible debut, and probably not going to sell him now. And then Gabriel, just one of those days where Manchester United were absolutely flying, and I love seeing it. Saka, Rice, Wilson, Enzo, and Fernandez. Fernandez is just a must-own for anyone at the moment. Enzo probably for the next 4 weeks, similar. Wilson, bit of a differential for me, even though he's pretty highly owned among managers but I've had him for sort of the last probably 7 or 8 game weeks. And then Rice and Saka, again, just perfect storm for a triple Arsenal on the weekend with United going to Emirates and taking the chocolates. And then sort of, as I said, I was too late to react on to not only not even bench Haaland, but also not keep the captain's armband on him, which hurt. And then Thiago blank as well. So moving on, this week, I've got Verbruggen against Everton. He's just slightly going above Dubravka at the moment. I was listening to someone and they also sort of shared a similar opinion that over the next couple of weeks, over the last few weeks, Verbruggen and Dubravka probably haven't had that rotation that we want, but that's going to start coming a little bit better. Leeds, Gabriel at Leeds, you hope that's a fixture where he can get a clean sheet. Guehi out at Tottenham, and Tarkovsky against Brighton. I haven't updated this, but I think it's more than likely that Virgil's actually going to come in for Tarkovsky. I think the clean sheet odds are saying that Virgil does have a better chance. If anyone that has been watching Liverpool, as I have, being a Liverpool fan, it's been pretty dire, but their actual stats and goals expected against have been quite good. They've just been leaky. Going for that 3-5-1, so in the midfield, we've got Saka, Rice, Wilson, Enzo, and Fernandes. I'll talk about captaincy in a little bit, but armband is currently on Fernandes. Saka and Rice again at Leeds. You expect a return out of either of them, but Ellen Road seems to be a little fortress for Leeds this year. Wilson, you can't keep expecting him to provide returns, but he does. And then Enzo against West Ham at home. You probably see Palmer comes back in and takes penalties off, but Enzo is constantly getting in the box. And his XG and XA per 90 is up there with the best. And then lastly, Haaland and Thiago. So Thiago, a bit sceptical about up against Villa, but it's been these type of games actually where he has scored. I think he had Burnley, Leeds, and someone else at the bottom where he actually didn't get a shot on goal, or may have had one shot on goal. And then it's been, your Liverpools, etc., where you've seen Thiago return. So I do have 2 transfers. I have 1.8 in the bank, and I was going to roll, but considering the upcoming fixtures and also the new information that we have on double game weeks, especially the confirmed one in 26, it's changed my thinking a little bit. So with the confirmation that 26 is going to be a double game week, if Chelsea are able to turn around that deficit, and that means that they would double along with Everton. So I was going to go a straight swap this week from Tarkowski to Chalobah. Chalobah's next 4 game weeks are obviously quite incredible with Chelsea's fixture run. So I was going to do a straight swap there, but I'm now considering keeping Tarkowski and actually even going Rodon to Chalobah, which means that my defence has got Gabriel just under 7 million, Guehi at about 5.3, Tarkowski at 5.7 or 5.8, Virgil at 5.9, and then Chalobah at 5.6. So it's probably a little bit too much money in my defence, and it would only leave me, I think, about 0.1 in the bank. Not confirmed at the moment, but that is something that I'm seriously considering, given the fact that Liverpool are going to play City in the next couple of weeks, and also Thiago has a pretty tough run as well, with I think Newcastle next week and then Arsenal the week after. So putting a bit of money in the defence over the next couple of weeks could be the play, but also quite risky, because if something happens in my midfield or someone gets injured, then it's probably going to be 2 transfers out, given I'll have no money in the bank just to try and reconcile the transfers that I have made. And then lastly is just talking about captaincy options. So 3 obvious options, especially in my team this week, are Saka, Haaland, and Fernandes. Saka, I still have just a sneaky suspicion. They beat Leeds, I think, 5-0 the first time that they played. Yes, bearing in mind that was at the Emirates, but maybe that could happen again. Haaland just isn't in that run of form. He does seem to cool off around this time each year. Or potentially even a little bit earlier. He just was on a dream run at the start of the season. And then Fernandes, leaning towards the captaincy armband being on Fernandes at the moment. He's just obviously got so many routes to points, whether it's goals, assists, defensive contributions, and typically if he does get a goal or assist, he's right up there in the bonus points just due to his activity. So in closing, I'm leaning towards Fernandes. Haaland, I know he scored midweek, but probably doesn't have that run of form that you'd want with the Tottenham away, and Fernandes having form at home. I know that form usually do sit back a little bit, but again, Fernandes' route to points is really tempting me, and then I can see Saka coming away with the 10-pointer and just that gut feeling being right, but me not going that way. And then lastly, just in regards to transfers, seriously considering Rodon to Chalobah. It's going to be a lot of money in my defence, which will leave me for 2 transfers next week. Does leave me with a bit of wiggle room, but for many who are going to be dead ending in 30 and with a wild card in 31, you probably do need to start rolling your transfers, and it's something that I'm bearing in mind. So that's my first video done. Would love to hear your thoughts on who you are captaining this week, and would also love to hear some overall feedback on what you liked about this video and what I can do more for next time. So thanks, and I'll see you next time.